Welcome to the Kingdom Business Leadership Podcast. You are listening to Season 1, Episode number 4. This is Dr. Andrea, and I am your host. And in this show, we're going to be discussing excellence in business. Continue listening and stay tuned to find out more.
Have you ever wanted to monetize your knowledge, skills, and expertise to fulfill your God-given purpose? The Kingdom Business Leadership Podcast helps you to use tools and strategies to partner with God in your business and act on His voice for your business breakthrough, development, and success, so God can truly be your CEO. This is the Kingdom Business Leadership Podcast. Here's your host and partner in purpose, Dr. Andrea Hart.
Dr. Andrea here, and we are back, and we're talking about excellence in business. This is actually one of my most favorite topics to engage in, to talk to people about, just because it's so, it's not done the best way all the time, and we have people talking about this, and they're saying, and they claim to be excellent in what they do, and then the reality is, that's not what we see. So we're going to talk about that today. Before I go any further, as you know, this is our first 4 episodes, and this is episode number 4. So overjoyed. But all these episodes have been sponsored by a company called Bluehost. And what they are, and I want to give them their props for being an affiliate with us, a partner with us, but they have web hosting, and they've given us a special discounted rate to my listeners of $3.95 per month. It's usually $8 to $9 regularly. And with Bluehost, you can host your website. So what that looks like is if you have a WordPress website, you can host it on there, and various other websites as well. And you can also buy your domain name there as well. And I've been using them for over 5 years, and I have used them or utilized them for both of those services. So definitely check them out, and you can look in the show notes for their information. So we're talking about excellence. So what is excellence? We need to define our terms before we jump into the subject, because it's not the same for everybody. The definition that I have for excellence, and that actually came from the Oxford Dictionary, is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. And then biblically, the definition is great, preeminent, better, or surpassing. So a lot of times you have individuals that they attach the word excellence, or they think the word excellence is synonymous with perfection. And that is an incorrect assumption. Excellence is not perfection at all. And going back to my premise for most things, when I talk about things on this platform, it has to go back to what is God saying and hearing the voice of God. When you hear the voice of God, you automatically, or I should say hear, apply, and listen. Hear, listen, and apply. You automatically put yourself in the realm of excellence. 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 7 talks about how we need to excel in all things. And then they give a list of different things that we need to excel in, biblically based things, spiritual things. But we need to endeavor to be excellent in all things. And one quote that I've always said, my students, they hear me say this all the time: how you do anything is how you do everything. So operating in this area or the space of excellence needs to permeate all areas of your life. You can't just be excellent if you're in school and your studies, and be mediocre in your home and personal life. You need to be excellent in all areas of your life, and it transcends that. Oftentimes you'll see people being mediocre or average in all areas of their life, and they'll claim to be excellent because they're a little bit better than other people in certain things. When the reality is, when you're in competition, you're never in competition with other individuals, you're in competition with yourself, because the standard of doing well is being obedient to God. And I know that might rattle some people, because we know, being business people and owners and engaging in professional career activities, there's always a level of competition. But the reality is, you need to frame it different. Somebody might be doing the exact same thing that you're doing in the space that you're doing it, or it seems like it's the exact same thing. But if the Lord told you to do something, you're a unique individual. So the way you do it will be very different than somebody else. But one thing, overarching thing that we want to happen in whatever God is telling you to do, whatever business he's telling you to go in, we want you to endeavor to be excellent. And that's in how you put things out. And that's something that I attempt to do and be myself. I really look for being able to follow best practices in anything that I do, even if it's a word from the Lord on how to do something in the business. I want to look at what other people are doing. Because a lot of these things that we get told is not reinventing the wheel. So there's people that have done this before, and there's people that have done it well before. So study them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it. That's actually good wisdom in studying them. So as we're talking, I do want you all to take advantage of the Facebook group, because in there might be someone that has done what you're doing or wants to do what you're doing or has done it already. So the Kingdom Business Leadership Facebook group is a free, exclusive place where you can communicate with a community of like-minded people, individuals who you can talk about your business challenges and the things that you've overcome, your breakthroughs. So click the link in the show notes to find out more information and to join. So why should we be excellent in life and in business? And I had to add the term life in there as well, because you need to be, we talk about the fruit of the Spirit a lot on this platform, or we have been. So being excellent is a byproduct of walking in the fruit of the Spirit fully. So why do we need to be excellent in our general life and in our business? Because how we are in our life is going to bleed into how we are when we deal with other individuals in business, or if we're don't happen to have a business, but if we're just in a career, that's going to bleed over. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 20 talks about how we are representatives of God. So when people look at us and we claim to be Christians, they're going to see or expect for you to operate in a certain way. The Bible talks about we are living letters, how we might be the only Jesus that some people will ever see. So you want to represent him well, essentially. So in that, we need to be hearing his voice, listening to his voice for what he wants for us to do. Excellence requires being able to hear and be led by the Spirit. So, and I'm going to use this time to do a quick plug right in there. I have a new course that's out, or at the time, by the time you're going to be listening to this, it will be out. If it's not already, it'll be in the show notes, about being led by the Spirit of God, because it is so very important to be able to be clearly led and know how God leads you in different ways. So you'll see some information for that in the show notes, and about hearing the voice of God, because these are two essential spiritual disciplines and things we need to get good at. We need to be able to, it's the foundation for us being able to operate and have God as our CEO, to be excellent in the things that God wants us to be excellent in. So the main reason for being excellent in and of itself, not because it will help you, but because we're representing our Father. We're representing Jesus Christ. And he wants us to be outstanding and extremely good. And at times, to be excellent, it takes finances, it takes money, it takes time, it takes wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And sometimes people are just not willing to put that type of time in. I'm not going to say they're lazy, but they're just unwilling to put the type of time in for them to be excellent in certain things. If you realize and you're looking for a small example, you're looking at your website, and I'm still endeavoring to make the websites that I have to be, to be better and better and better as I grow in different phases of what I'm doing. You need to sometimes look at other best practices, look at other people, do whatever you need to do. Maybe hire someone, take a class to learn how to do something so the things that you have on your website look better. Find a better template. And some of those things might cost some money, and sometimes they might not. It's just you trying to do the work. And if you don't have the money to do it, you need to find some time. So people that have more money, they don't have to utilize their own time because they can pay somebody else. But if you are deficient in the money area, you're going to have to spend the time or find the time to do it, or find someone to help you, volunteer, whatever it is. but it's realizing that it's something that's needed, something that we need to do. So let's move right on. I think you all have the gist of what being excellent is and what we need to do. So let's look at some keys, some tangible, really relatable things that we can do, which are keys to being excellent. The first one, and these are my opinion, obviously, but the first one is having a true relationship with God. And that's the ground zero for everything that we are talking about all throughout this whole platform, being kingdom business leaders. We have to have a real, true, authentic relationship with God. And whatever it takes for you to get to that place, if it's having a church home that's a life-giving church, a healthy church, do that. Getting more into the Word of God, reading the Word, asking and praying to the Lord for divine revelation, knowledge concerning the Word of God, all those things. Because a lot of times when you have business owners and career professionals, you'll have individuals that are dealing with inner healing issues and they're bleeding, they're wounded on the inside, and they're bleeding all over anyone that contacts them. Anyone that contacts them in their family life, in their business life, in their career, they're bleeding because of the wounds that they have. If that is you, I need you to go over to my other platform, God Still Heals, and get some information, knowledge, and guidance on how to get healed from those wounds. And I'll put some links in the show notes if you're not familiar with that side of what I do. But whatever's on the inside of you, the healing issues that you have, or the places where you still need to be healed, will come out to other people that you interact with, because that's just the type of individual, that's how human nature is. So we have to have a true relationship with God. We must be able to hear and discern his voice. So discernment also speaks to being able to have an understanding of the way that God speaks to you and what he is saying and what he needs to do. And that comes through practice. That comes through spending time with the Lord to be able to know and hear his voice. The Bible talks about how he's a good shepherd, how his sheep hear and they know his voice. So we are designed to hear the voice of God. However, some of us have so many things outside of the things of God, noise that's causing our hearing to be a little bit muddied, or it's not good. The example that I use at all times when I talk about being able to hear the voice of God is a radio. So the radio signal is always going, whether you have in your car, wherever you listen to the radio, whether it's turned on or not, the radio is always going. But sometimes we have to develop an ear to hear the voice of the Lord. So taking out all this extraneous noise that's consuming our souls, our mind, and will, our emotions, taking out or causing those extraneous noises that are outside of the will of God, outside of the voice of God, making his voice the clearer voice, the bolder voice that we hear. And there's ways that you can do that. And I'll put some links in the show notes around that. I have a whole masterclass in and around that you can partake of, you can listen to, and get some education, some information about being able to hear the voice of God, developing an ear to hear the voice of God more clearly. Keys to being excellent. The second key is walking in integrity. And walking in integrity is something that's a basic business principle that they tell people that don't even know God to do. So if you're telling someone that doesn't have the Spirit of God on the inside of them, they're not led, guided, or moved by the Spirit of God, and they're still able to do it, how much more someone that knows God, that has Jesus Christ as their Father, that's able to be able to hear the voice of God, how much more should you be able to walk in integrity? And this goes back to the inner healing issues. At times, there's inner healing issues that you have, that you're dealing with, traumas, hurts, and things that are affecting how you react and respond to people and things, that's causing you to not walk in integrity. For example, let's say in the past you've had issues with finances, and maybe you had a business and you lost the business, or you had the business and the money there was issues with the money, or you had a lot of money, and so you were just afraid that you were going to lose it. So you operated in that realm of fear. So it caused you to make fear-based decisions for your employees and different things. So it caused you, for example, maybe I'm not going to do what I need to do in regards to their benefits because this saves me more money because I'm fearful I'm going to run out. So you can see how that goes back to an inner healing issue of having a mindset of depravity, poverty mindset, all these different things, but it's coming out in your business. And it's causing you to do things that are not quite ethical and not quite integrous. So these are things that we need to look at. And that was just that's nobody that I know. That's just an example that I just gave off the cuff, but it could be in different areas. Things based on your past trauma or your past experience that are outside of the will of God that you're reacting to, and you're letting it bleed into your business. And it's demonstrating itself as lack of integrity. If you're a restaurant owner, maybe it's demonstrating itself as you bought this food and you bought it at a cheaper price, but you know it's expired. But you're still going to use it because it's probably, the expiration dates might not exactly be when it's actually expired. So you're going to go ahead and use it. Nobody else will know the difference. And maybe they won't know the difference. But God knows. He saw what you did. And that's a lack of integrity. And really what you're doing when you're operating in those realms, you're opening up doors for the enemy, talking about the devil, to come and attack you in your business. So I can give you numerous ways, or numerous examples, I should say, of this, but we just really need to be cognizant of this. That's why I say individuals that know God, they need to go through examining what wounds they might still have, going through inner healing, going through deliverance, all these different things. You need to be whole in your soul, in your mind, your will, your emotions. So whatever it takes for that to happen, do that. Like I said, I operate two different sides of what I do, and one side is health and healing, and we have a lot of resources. I'll put some in the show notes that can help you in those areas, because what you're going to see, you'll get out here, and we see it with entertainers all the time. Money magnifies who you really are. So if you have issues of woundedness and healing, inner healing things that are going on, and you can still make money, God still blesses. Even if you just follow general principles of good business, you can still get blessed and have customers and things like that. But money will magnify the issues that you have. And you'll see individuals, and I'm talking about celebrities and public figures and things like that. You'll see individuals that have these pinnacle of success, but yet they fall to drug addiction, drug abuse, and things like that, because it's just magnifying what's already going on in your heart. So we want to endeavor, not saying that you have to be completely healed and whole. We know healing can be a process and a journey that God starts when we pray and ask for his help. But we need for you to be working on these different issues as you grow in your business. And there might be some things that God can't even release you into because of the wounds, because of the inner healing issues that you have. And he's just trying to protect you. Didn't mean to go that deep and that far into that, but it's good because it's a reality of business ownership. Even I'll give you a little insight into some of the things I've been in with the last business. I always talk about with the home health and things. That business was very good, but it was also very traumatic. And when we got out of it, because of the high levels of stress that it entailed, I was burnt out on doing anything in business, having any employees, dealing with any of that stuff, because of the way that business, through the process of that business, all that it entailed. And we were young and we were just learning. So we made a lot of mistakes as well, which we're still playing cleanup to some of those mistakes, but it's okay. So leaving that business and taking a year off to just kind of recalibrate and get myself back together. In that, there was a certain level of trauma that I received as a result of being in that business, and the Lord had to help me. I had to pray through that so that I would be able to start again and do some different things, even the things that I'm doing now in a different area, a different realm, but not be in fear that I would get back into that place of stress, that financial burden, all that would be the way I would start again. And a lot of us, when we get into business, you're in business multiple times. And in business, some people look and frame business when it doesn't go the way they thought it would go. They look at it as a failure. But the reality is, in business, you don't fail, you learn. And you have to see it that way. Because many of the greats that have these huge businesses and very prosperous businesses now, they had a lot of challenges before. They might not have done things in their first business exactly right. They might have to try again and things like that. So don't look at it as a defeat. Look at it as it was a learning opportunity. And I know now getting into this next business, I'm not going to do the same things that I did before. So those are things that the Lord's going to help us with. But if you have a mindset of a poverty, a mindset of not having enough and things like that, you're going to frame those things in the wrong way. And there might have been a business that God had you in that it didn't do so well, or things didn't go the way you thought they should have gone, and you left it. Although the business was God's idea, but you weren't ready for all the things that were connected to that. And so you kind of just bowed out. But God might be telling you, you need to start again. You need to go back, because that business was me. But I need you to not do some of the same things that you did, to get some education, get some understanding, read some books and things like that, so that you can be better on the second try. So that's a word for someone, definitely, to look back and don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to do this again. I can't do this again because I failed. Just look at like, okay, these are the things that I learned, and I learned not to do this, and I'm going to start again in a different way. I'm going to seek the Lord and get the strategy and the plan. So that goes to number 3. We're talking about different keys to operate in excellence. We talked about having a true relationship with God, walking in integrity. Third key, operating in wisdom. Operate in wisdom, and wisdom comes from the Lord. So whatever he's telling you to do, whether it be in a career or be as a business owner, ask God what for the next step. Get your strategy, get your download from him. And then also look at natural wisdom. There's many books out there now on the market about marketing, about how to get your message out there, about all these different ways and tools and things like that. Utilize those things. You can get some things from God, but God's saying there's some things already in the earth that you need to utilize. You need to be, and we're talking about excellence. You need to be excellent in what you do. And part of being excellent is getting the education side of it. And that brings me to the 4th point, doing the research. I believe in business planning. I believe in strategy. I believe in feasibility plans. I believe in vetting. I believe in all these things. And if you join Kingdom Business Leadership Network, you're going to learn about and how to do all of those things. So a quick plug there. But definitely do the research. Whatever it is, if there's a particular business that you want to get into, study it. Has anybody around you been in that business? Talk to people that are in that now. Look at the costs. Look at the benefits. Look at all these different things. And that's doing the research. And a lot of that has to do with having a business plan and looking at, and I like a 1-page business plan. I talk about that you're going to see in the business network. There's some videos on some of these things. If they're not there, if you're listening to this at the time of it being live, they're probably not there yet, but they will be there. But those that are listening at a later date, there definitely will be in there about how to write a business plan, how to do a feasibility study, how to vet an offer, all these things, or vet a deal. All these things will be in there. And these are things that we need to do the research on, because we want to be excellent in our business. It's one thing to pray and ask the Lord for the strategy, but the Lord is also saying, I gave you a brain. I need you to use it. I need you to do the research. If you want to start a clothing company, look and analyze different clothing companies and how they started, what they did, some of the processes, manufacturing. There's all these different areas. And for some of us, it might entail us going back to school and getting some information. If that's what you are sensing from the Lord, go back and get the information. And maybe it might not be a traditional school. Maybe it might be a course or a class, something. It could even be the network, joining the network, whatever it is the Lord has you to do. You know, you take it to the Lord and say, Lord, is this the way and the route, what the research is that you want me to do? And you follow behind what he says. We're living in an information age, and there's so much out there. You can Google any and everything. So the information is out there. So there's really no excuse for you not to know and know the best practices, study the best practices. We need to endeavor to be the best at what we do. We need to endeavor to be the best at what God has told us to do, whatever that looks like. So I thank you guys so much. We're going to end it right there. We talked about today being excellent in your business. And there's not a lot to it. when you're in God is listening and getting directives from Him and being led by His Spirit. Once again, thank you for Bluehost being the sponsor for this whole month's worth of episodes through our affiliate partnership with them. Definitely check them out if you need website hosting or a website listing. You can check them out. We have a special code, $3.95 per month. Definitely check them out. Or if you need, I said website listing, I meant domain name hosting, domain name address. Check them out. And we will be back once again for our next month's season of episodes, and we want you guys to tune in. Definitely join the Facebook group. So happy that you're here. We love for you to subscribe. We love for you to leave us a nice review about how this broadcast is helping you. We really appreciate that. We read those things. So we appreciate you, and we look to see you again to be listening to the Kingdom Business Leadership Podcast. Have a great one. We'll see you soon. Dr. Andrea here, and I want to tell you about my book, God Still Heals. Healing is still for today. If you have been waiting, wishing, or desperate for God to move in the area of healing in your life, this book is your answer. In this book, I tackle some of the most common short circuits to healing that I have experienced in over 20 years of ministering to people and others in the United States and abroad in this area. If you have been questioning God as to why He hasn't healed you yet, you will find the answers in the pages of God Still Heals. This book will give you inspiration and practical insight into how God's healing power works and why at times it may seem as if God only heals a special chosen few. Within this book, I combine my insight as a health education professional and researcher with spiritual principles of living in divine health. In this book, you'll discover what stops your faith from working when it comes to healing, how examining the roots of your beliefs can give insight into your faith for healing, how traumatic experiences and strongholds can be connected to healing in your life, and how to recognize and overcome the building blocks of those strongholds, such as word curses, traumatic pictures, inner vows, negative expectations, soul ties, and generational curses. And then we also discuss some of the answers to the most common questions that you might have about healing. Definitely take a look at this book. We have free bonus material, activation prayers, some next steps, and even prescriptions for divine health and natural keys to living a healthy lifestyle. Check out the link in the show notes to get your copy of God Still Heals, or you can go straight to Amazon and pick it up there.
Thanks for listening to the Kingdom Business Leadership Podcast. To continue the conversation on growing your kingdom business or to join the Kingdom Business Leadership Network, head over to our website at thekbln.com, or you can find us on Facebook. To connect, text GodsCEO to 77948.